Morning, folks. It's already hot. It's only 11 o'clock. I came up here to get my little utility trailer so I can put the weed chopper in it and move it around the fairgrounds easier. My pickup truck's got more junk in it than what I care to try to sort through and unload right now. But anyway, my phone beeped a minute ago and I get this news message on here. Take a look at this. It says, firefighters pulled from fire after threats, harassment along Idaho-Oregon border. So what's going on? It says, ranchers at odds with the U.S. Forest Service methods of fighting wildfires are causing confrontations on the Tartar and Fox fires along the Idaho-Oregon border. The U.S. Forest Service released an update on the Tartar fire Tuesday morning, a regular occurrence during large fires. What was unusual, however, was a specific note from the fire command saying the safety of our firefighters is paramount. Last night, firefighters were pulled out of the Devil's Elbow area and other portions along the east side of the fire as they were being harassed and threatened. Crews will disengage if such actions continue. So what's going on is the backburning. I watched it happen here too, and it is hard to understand what they're doing. A backburn is designed to create a dead spot where there is no, say, firewood. The easiest way to put it, if your wood stove burns out and there's no firewood in there, it doesn't matter if you throw a bunch of paper in there and stuff and try to light it again. It's only going to burn that paper and go out. It won't keep burning. And it's the same deal. They try to get ahead of the fire, and they burn a big section of it in a hopefully controlled burn that they can put out easy. And then when the actual forest fire gets to that spot, there's nothing left for it to basically eat. It starves to death and goes out. And that's the idea behind a backburn. But watching them here, they were burning stuff opposite direction from where the forest fire was, and just in case it might go that way. And miles away, and it was just hard to justify. It really was. Watching that, what they were basically doing was using the fire as an excuse to get rid of some stuff that they wanted burned anyway. But I don't know. These people are supposed to know what they're doing. We put them in charge of doing this, and we kind of need to stay out of their way and let them do it, or stop them completely. And if we stop them completely, who's going to take over? We have nobody else. They are, doggone fly, they are the only show in town, really. They are the ones that we have put in charge of fighting these fires. If we get in their way and we harass them and we stop them from doing their job, even if it's something that we don't agree with, they're out of here, and they quit trying. A few years back with our big fire here, they called that the Moose Fire. There's a lady that lives here, and others. Wasn't just her, but we're actually friends with her, and she was causing them a lot of problems, and she was basically getting in the way, calling town meetings and harassing them. And I hate Facebook. I very rarely get on Facebook and look at that. And I did, and I saw what was going on. And I told her, I said, don't do that now. This is not the time to do this. Wait until they get it put out. If they get it put out, take lots of pictures, take videos, and go to the governor and tell him, look, this needs to change. But don't get in their way right now. Let them do their job. And she just couldn't understand that. And some people agreed on Facebook, others didn't, and like I say, I hate that doggone thing. It's just, every time I look at Facebook, it just puts me in a bad mood. But, like I say, if you don't agree with the way they're doing something, unless they are burning your property or burning something that actually pertains to you, get out of the way. And then, like I said, try to make changes after it's over. But like I told her, who would you rather help? If you got somebody that calls you names all the time, that gets in your way and causes you trouble all the time, or you get somebody that you actually like, who would you rather help if there's a problem? I mean, if you don't like somebody, it's easy to say, well, hell with them. Let them burn up. I don't care. If it's somebody you like, you're going to do everything you can. Make sure their house is safe and the stuff that matters to them is good. If it's somebody you like, and that doesn't matter if it's a forest fire or just whatever. If everyday life, if it's somebody you like, you try to help them. If it's somebody you don't like, well, they're on their own. And we can't do this on our own. The local fire departments and things, they can't do it on their own. These firemen for the Forest Service, it takes millions of dollars to do this, and there's not enough of them to go around. And if you make them mad on this fire, fine, we'll just go help them on that fire. There's lots of fires. We don't have to be at this one. And I don't know. It's hard to understand, but like I say, I'm not a fan of the Forest Service. I'm not basically on their side on this. I really don't like the things they do and the way they do things. But they are in charge. They're supposed to know what they're doing. And, that's until the people of the country make changes and put somebody else in charge, they are in charge. Like it or not. I've watched them do things that just boggle your brain. Back in 2000, I was in a fire camp running a forklift for the fellow that lives over across the highway here, and it was a supply camp, and oh man, the amount of waste and the amount of just flat out stupidity, it's just hard to understand how they get anything done. It really is. I could tell you stories that just make you scratch your head and walk away muttering to yourself. It's just hard to understand. But they are in charge, and they are all we have. And overall, I think they do a reasonably good job. This fire back here, the moose fire, I think probably about half of that was backburn. It probably wouldn't have been as big as it was if they weren't lighting everything on fire. They have what they call dragon eggs. The last few years, they've been dropping them out of drones, but before that, they were throwing them out of helicopters and things. And the way I understand it, they're a ping pong ball, and they're full, half full of some chemical. And then before they drop them, they inject them with another chemical, and the two of those combined heat up and they burst into flames. And so they're flying along and they're dropping these dragon eggs out in places that have no fire, and they create a fire. And like I say, the backburn is a good idea. That's what they've done to fight fires for 100 years or more. And I got nothing against that, but some of the spots where they're doing this, it's not in danger, and the fire isn't going that way anyway. So I can see both sides of this. The ranchers down there, they're protecting their livelihood. They're in trouble. If they have no feed for their cattle, what do? You can only raise so much hay, and you're not going to make any money. You're going to lose cattle. You're probably going to end up having to sell off a lot of your cattle, and it's going to hurt you personally. It might put you out of business. And, you know, you get put out of business on a ranch, you lose that ranch. It's not just a minor deal, it's important, you know, and I don't blame them at all for being mad about this. But on the other hand, these are the folks, like I said, that we put in charge. They're supposed to know what they're doing. Supposed to. Hard to know whether it's right or wrong, but it's all we have. See you folks tomorrow. Probably get a lot of hate mail on this video, I bet you.